Okay. I think it's time to talk about the story. We can't avoid it anymore. We can't. We can't run away. Like Elon says we are from the story, us Ukraine supporters. Did you guys see that? That Elon says that Ukraine supporters are running away from this. Can't help but notice every account with the Ukrainian flag in their handle hasn't said shit about this woman. And then you see this horrible stabbing. Elon Musk says, odd. That's the first thing he thought of when he saw this woman get stabbed was, haha, Ukraine flags. Odd. Why aren't you talking about it? You guys demented? How do you guys engage with politics? You see like a brutal murder, and we'll talk about this in a moment. You see a brutal murder, but your first thought is, how do I weaponize this against my political opponents? Or how do I use this specifically in my political avenue, as we're about to see, which is going to be race baiting and trying to increase racial tensions in the United States. So let's talk about what happened. So Iryna Zarutska, she is a Ukrainian refugee. Here's Charlie Kirk saying, say her name, right? She is a Ukrainian refugee, which came to the United States and then was murdered. She was murdered on the train, as you can see from many people reposting it in many different formats of race seeing you. I didn't see race. Is the only way I've been seeing it is in formats like that, where she was murdered brutally on the train, stabbed from behind, doing absolutely nothing wrong. And the reaction to this has been for a few reasons. There's been just an overwhelming reaction. One of the reasons is because there wasn't a lot of immediate coverage when the footage dropped. Because the only reason we're talking about it now is because the footage dropped and people have been sharing it around like crazy, and it's pretty awful. But the one critique was that it's not being talked about enough, right? Which, fair enough. Okay, this is a pretty brutal train murder. You know, I think, maybe this person probably deserves, justice. They deserve everything that they could get from a decent criminal justice system. Okay, makes sense. Good. But the way it's being talked about in the idea that, it needs more attention, is it needs more attention in their avenue, i.e. amongst weaponization for race relations. Let me give you an example. Race seeing you, I don't see race, saying that no matter what, even if you don't see race, race still sees you and you will be a victim. Saying that, you might not be racist, but no matter what, they'll still come for you. 5.4 million views. You've got people coming out here saying stuff like, what's more lethal to Ukrainians, Russian tanks or black people? She ran from the war in Ukraine. She came here for safety, and America failed her. 23-year-old Iryna Zarutska was butchered on a Charlotte night rail, I believe is what he meant. Her throat cut open by a violent repeat offender who had been arrested 14 times and was still free. This wasn't random. This was preventable. This is a war on white people. Her blood is on the hands of a system that let violent criminals roam while innocent people pay the price. If Iryna was black and her killer was white, the media would be rioting nonstop. But because she's white, they stay silent. This is evil and it's deliberate. 18.4 million views. Now, there's a bunch of different variations of this. These are just the ones that I'm showing because these are the ones I could pull up upon a quick search around. Well, we'll probably look at one or two more examples in a second. But the first thing I want to say here is, if this is completely on a racial lens. This is using this poor girl's murder, this refugee's murder, to try to increase racial tensions in the United States. You know what he's saying here about, if Iryna was black and her killer was white. Okay, here's a question. If it was two black people, he wouldn't be talking about it. He wouldn't. If it was two white people, he would not be talking about it. White people and white people are the most likely to hurt each other because white people live near other white people. Black people are the most likely to hurt other black people when it comes to crime because black people live around other black people. It has to do with a whole bunch of factors, white flight and how people segregate themselves, the history of housing regulations and racially discriminatory housing laws. But none of those stories are going to get the national headlines because they don't appeal to racial animus. It doesn't make you think, oh, that's the other. Because if you're a black person watching a black person, for a black person, you don't think racial animus. You just think, well, that's horrible. That's a bunch of people hurting each other because that's you. If you're a white person, see a white person hurt another white person. Oh, there's no racial animus to that. It's, oh, that's just some local criminal or some local bad guy, or oh, that guy needs some mental health help. Oh, that poor fella. But once it's racially intertwined, then it's useful to be mentioned. Then it's useful to be talked about. Because if you look at Benny Johnson, is Benny Johnson covering white on black crime? Is Benny Johnson even covering black on black crime or white on black crime? No, he only covers black on black crime. And for it to come from this knuckle dragging, window licking Neanderthal who took so much money from the Russian government in order to produce their propaganda so he could lie about terrorist attacks and do everything he could to demonize Ukrainians at his pay by the Russian government. He's getting paid to do that. That's what he's doing. He's going out there and suggesting, well, then maybe the Moscow mall attack was actually done by Ukrainians. It was done by ISIS, but he's doing that to spread animus about Ukrainians. So when the Russian tanks that the other person said, oh, who kills more, tanks or black? Tanks. The tanks kill more people. The drones, the bombing, that kills tons and tons of people. These people, I don't even know if they care about white people. I have to say, I don't even know, because if you're on one hand going to do the dirty work of the regime currently killing the most white people on the planet in Ukraine, no hold bars, and then come back to the United States and then try to cast yourself as the protector of the white woman, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Not to mention the fact, if this woman, here's the hard truth, if this woman was torn apart by a Russian bomb instead of a knife on a train, Benny Johnson would care not at all. He wouldn't care. Charlie Kirk wouldn't care. Everybody else in the story would not care at all. They wouldn't be talking about it. It would not be a headline. It would not be anywhere. And so when people are talking about, oh, why aren't the Ukraine flags talking about this, Ukraine flags talking about that? When's the last time Elon Musk talked about any atrocity in Ukraine? Has Elon Musk ever tweeted out the words human safari? Has Charlie Kirk? Has any of these people? The open hunting of, again, it doesn't even make sense. The open hunting of white people in Europe, if you wanted to racialize it, there it is. Nothing, no engagement on it whatsoever. Why? Because they're paid by the Russians. Benny Johnson's case, at least. Tim Pool's case, at least. Lauren Southern's case, at least. How many others are we going to find are on their payroll? They want racial tensions to increase in this country. This is the type of content Russia loves in this country. Russia wants America to have a race war. If America's having a race war, if America's too busy rioting over police violence and going out there and rioting over a lynching, or having people go out and try to hunt down vigilante-style criminals from Twitter videos that they saw out of context, or whatever it is, that means we're too busy dealing with our internal affairs. We're not dealing with defense issues in Europe. We're not dealing with that. The Russians had programs fully funded that would make Black Lives Matter protesters and All Lives Matter protesters, Blue Lives Matter protesters, go to the same places, where they would set up Facebook events from anonymous accounts next to each other, so that these people would fight and riot and increase tensions. This was part of the Internet Research Agency, which was headed by Yevgeny Prigozhin, the same Prigozhin that, went up in a puff of smoke after the plane crash during his attempted coup. But that shows, they have clear intentions. And this guy on Russia's payroll is actively trying to increase racial tensions by using these Ukrainian refugees that if she died in any other way, he would not care. If she got run over by a tank, if she got killed the most brutal way in Ukraine, it would not care. It would not matter, because it wouldn't be politically convenient. Her death in that moment would be politically inconvenient, because it would be a death under the watch of Trump, the peace president, in a war he said he would end in 24 hours. So Ukrainians only matter in the eyes of these people once they can be weaponized against black people. And that's extremely sick, to turn these people who are being victimized in a war as nothing more than a tool of your racial animus. And Benny Johnson is getting paid by foreign governments to do it. This is somebody who would I mean, dude, I don't know if you're a Red Dawn guy, if you're a Red Dawn, if you ever loved, Wolverines, those movies, he would be very quick to be running up to that station to see if he can get that money to play on the propaganda channels. Berlin calling, Rose of Tokyo. I don't know what name he would call himself in that scenario, but his loyalties to me do seem divided. I mean, come on. This only makes America a more dangerous place. And he knows it. And I mean, these people are so blatant too. Look, for example, this woman, remember her, yet another senseless murder of a white woman.
Iryna Zarutska was in Charlotte, North Carolina, got on a public transport one day after her long shift at the pizza shop, and a black person, unprovoked, they had never spoken before, there was no prior.
Man, if that's the character trait, you know what I would say? Crazy person. From the way they were acting, that person was off their rocker. That's the first thing that comes to my mind, looking at them behind them. That's the first thing that comes to your mind is race. You're race obsessed. You're a race freak. And that's what we need to call these people from now on. We can't be like, oh, they're just racist. No, they're not. They're racist, but they're race freaks. This is all they do. This is all they do 24/7 is scroll on social media, watching gore porn of white people being murdered so they can have their own racial revenge fantasies. It is crazy. If you scroll endlessly on Twitter, you will see the depths of human depravity when it comes to how human beings can view each other.
Connection there, not dating the guy, no argument, no confrontation. She just went there, sat down. He was sitting back there. They said he had sat behind her for about 30 minutes before he took out a pocket knife, and she was stabbed in the throat and stabbed 2 other places, resulting in her dying on the scene. I'm sick of seeing this. I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. This story is shocking just because of the brutality of it alone. If we had a little bit more racial consciousness and we realized, maybe don't put yourself anywhere in the vicinity of a black person. Better yet, why don't black people have their own spaces? This guy.
Mind you, this is the outrage she gets at this one white person being murdered on a train. Here's her talking about the war in Ukraine. Mind you, again, the biggest mass death event of white people in the 21st century. We don't care about Ukraine. We don't care about trans. We don't care about any of that. It's all just a distraction from the real issue, Jewish supremacy and the occupation of our country. F Israel, F Palestine, F Russia, F Ukraine, F China, America first. So she doesn't care. It's not about white people. It's about her specific, because don't say it's about white people. Say it's about American whiteness, because it's not even about white people. Okay, white people come from Europe. Okay, we didn't sprout from the earth here. We came here. We're the foreign entity who came here hundreds of years ago, and then made it our own. So it's not about white people even. It's about your white community. It's about your whiteness. It's about your vision of white America. It's not even about white people. She doesn't care about white people. She cares about white Americans. Okay, specifically. Iryna Zarutska, Charlie Kirk, somebody who said that the Ukrainians were not ready for a Jeffersonian-style democracy, so we shouldn't send them aid. By the way, the same Ukrainian nation that protested during the war and got them to go back on their corruption penalty loosening, on their anti-corruption independence bill. I did want to check out advice from Lewis. This is the same person who did that decent enough TikTok back in the day, reacting to some anti-Ukraine hysteria. And he did one reacting to how this woman is also being weaponized. And I wanted to check in again because it's good to see some not terrible content coming out of TikTok.
We need to stop making everything about race.
Agreed.
However, a Ukrainian refugee was attacked today. It happened on a train station.
Oh, no, it happened.
He was black. The aggressor and perpetrator was black. And she was not.
Okay, but was he, like, mentally ill? Like, what were the other aspects of...
I don't know. I didn't read the article. I just saw he was black. And he had dreadlocks.
Okay, but, like, this is a tragic event. This is
I know.
horrible, but, like, did they have like an altercation? Did he have a job? Like,
She had lighter skin and he had darker skin. To be honest, that's the only reason why I'm sharing it or talking about it. He was black.
okay, but so you didn't even read the story. You just looked at a picture and a headline and you're talking about
Even
it
though
now?
I criticized Biden for giving Ukraine resources to fight their war, I've never expressed sympathy, only criticized them. Change the fact or distract from the fact that
You don't even care about the war in Ukraine.
Doesn't matter because he was black. This justifies my hate towards them. Oh my God, I knew it.
Okay, but why hyper focus? This is a horrible thing.
That's what I'm saying.
This is a horrible thing. You shouldn't be using this though to like slander an entire.
Elon Musk even commented. Because we found out the judge was also black. Fire the DEI.
I don't think you care about this event at all. I think you
the
just want
judge
to look at
if she was
something to
black.
be angry about and to verify your hate.
I don't care about this incident. I care about the fact that they were black. I don't even know anybody's name in the story. I just know he was black.
Nah, you need to leave. No, get out. No, leave.
It isn't a narrative. It's just a simple fact that he was black.
Don't be a race freak. Okay.